Hey guys, this is Gavin Burseth from BRG Real Estate, back at it with another weekly video. As you can see behind me, I'm not in Myrtle Beach. I'm currently on vacation, but I figured this would be a great opportunity for you guys to get to know more about me. So let's get started. So for myself, I'm actually 25 years old. I actually grew up in Bartlett, Illinois, which is the northwest suburbs of Chicago. So I lived about an hour from the city. So I grew up in Illinois for almost 20 years before I decided to move to Myrtle Beach. But growing up as a kid, I have an older brother that is 15 years older than me. So in the early 2000s, he was actually a professional race car driver. So as you can say, as a kid, I was living in the fast lane for sure. So for my older brother, he actually raced in Formula BMW, the Road Speed Challenge, and the Viper Comp Coupe. So I was around tons of different race car drivers. So I was very lucky. I was in, the VIP sections of races, and he was doing races all over the United States, Canada. Got to see, if you guys are into racing, got to actually see Formula One, and at the time, Michael Schumacher was, the top driver. So it was cool to actually, experience all those races and be where, the average person is not, because I was in those, VIP sections. But as a kid, I think I didn't realize how lucky I was, because one of the funny memories I have is at the time GameCube was the game console to have, and I remember playing video games in the racing trailer, playing a racing game at the actual racetrack while I was there, and I could actually see the race in person, but I was too busy playing the video game, which is, I think it's kind of funny. But that's how I got introduced to business, because my brother and my mom actually ran a performance shop. So they actually sold, performance parts for cars. They sold Puma racing gear, Ferrari gear, and they did business all over the world with that business. And they, as a kid, they would have me do odd and end jobs of, adding things to the website. They did this one automotive trade show, and they were one of the first distributors of GoPro, and that was before anybody knew what GoPro was. Walmart wasn't selling GoPros yet. Nobody was selling GoPros. And that was when GoPros actually took AAA batteries, and they were in standard definition. And they told me at this automotive show if I sold an X amount that they would get me a plasma screen TV. And as a kid, I thought it would be so cool to have a plasma screen TV because I could watch movies and play video games and all that. And that was when plasma screen TVs were a lot of money. And so I was determined to sell these GoPros, which I actually sold over $10,000 worth. And let's say I did get that plasma screen TV. So I was, hooked in the business mind of, there's endless possibilities if you're good at selling. But then 2008 happened, and that whole racing scene changed. I mean, the whole kind of world changed after the economy crashed in 2008, and so that business sadly faded out. But my brother decided to buy a home in Woodstock, Illinois, which he had 5 acres of land on it as well. And fast forward a few years, I'm already in high school. I'm a sophomore in high school, and in my parents' neighborhood, you're not supposed to own any kind of livestock, and one of their neighbors actually had a goat and got in trouble for it. So they knew that my brother had 5 acres of land, and they asked if he would want to take if we would want to take the goat in. And we figured, why not? Well, we'll take this goat in. Not never having goats before. We'll give it a go. And us both being business-minded people, we're like, well, how can we make money from this goat? So we decided to buy more goats, which we created a business called Floor Goats Eco Lawn Care, where we actually brought goats to different properties and had them clear out the land. And one of the highlight of that business was, at the time I was in Boy Scouts, and I actually achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. But one of the projects was to clear half an acre of poison ivy for a forest preserve. So we got on ABC News.
So what do you get when you mix together an award-winning Boy Scout and 38 goats?
Eyewitness News reporter Frank Matthey has the answer.
A beautiful day at Blackwell Forest Preserve near west suburban Warrenville. A beautiful day for us and for goats, eating enough to bust their bellies. It's a 10-hour day for these vegetarian, non-stop leaf munchers. And it's all because of Eagle Scout Gavin Burseth.
We have 38 goats eating poison ivy. They're eating all the other invasive plants here today, and they're going to be fertilizing the land also and bringing back native vegetation.
Gavin is already an Eagle Scout, and he's now working for one of the Scouts' highest honors, the Hornaday Award. He has already completed 2 conservation projects towards that goal. This is the last part of his big test.
It's a really hard award. Last year, only 5 Scouts got this award last year, so it's a really hard award.
In the whole country?
The whole country.
This is a favorite spot for campers in this DuPage County Forest Preserve. They camp here, they hike here, and there's lots of poison ivy.
The poison ivy was pretty extensive through this area, and we really wanted to control it.
Gavin is working with his older brother Derek, who owns a company called Thor Goats Eco Lawn Care. And together, the brothers and the goats are an environmental super team. Goats, as you probably know, can eat almost anything. Their stomachs are like Kevlar. They're bulletproof. So these are the perfect employees for this job.
They never take a break until the sun sets, and even after that, they probably work the whole night through if they were allowed to.
By the way, there's a low-voltage fence to keep the goats in and people out, so no goat napping, please. Frank Mathy, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
AP press too, so that news, we got tons of press from that, so that was kind of really cool, you know, being in high school and being on the news channel and all that. And you know, goats can pretty much eat everything. Like I said, they can eat poison ivy, which is pretty crazy, but they do such a great job. Before that business though, it's so seasonal, because if you know about Illinois, it gets really cold during the winters and you get the snow and you get all that. So it was very a seasonal business. So we're, you know, what can we do year long? So we were researching more the goat milk itself and saw that you can actually make soap with it. And that goat milk has a lot of minerals and vitamins. So, you know, it's really actually a really great product with making it with soap when you use other natural ingredients. So, you know, we put our heads together and figured out how to make soap, and we did our first show, and we were super successful. We were one of the most busiest booths at the show, so we're like, we're on to something. So, you know, we made more products. So we made like goat milk lotions, bath bombs, other bath and beauty products, and you know, we created a website. We actually did more home shows and trade shows, and we're just growing our customers. And you know, we decided to open a kiosk at one of the biggest malls in Illinois. So besides having the kiosk, we actually opened a storefront in Woodstock, Illinois. That was where the farm was located, and we opened it in the downtown square area. And the funny thing is, that's where they filmed Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. But we always had customers tell us that we should move the business to Myrtle Beach. And personally, I've never heard of Myrtle Beach before then, and never visited Myrtle Beach. Didn't even know what state it was in. But my brother and I, we decided to listen to our customers and, you know, take a trip to Myrtle Beach. So we drove down there for the weekend, not knowing it was 16 hours away. But when we got there and we fell in love with the area, I always wanted to live down south. I always wanted, you know, to be in warmer climate. I was tired of the winters, and I'm always that beach boy at heart, and I wanted to live by the beach. And so at the time, I was already in college in Illinois, and I had a, you know, really good scholarship there. And so, you know, it was a hard decision if I could even, you know, transfer or not. So I decided to transfer to Coastal Carolina University, and was very lucky that they matched my scholarship. But then we had a store in the Market Commons for a short time, and you know, I decided to kind of focus more on college, because my first 2 years of college, I didn't really get to enjoy the college experience because I was busy working a lot. So I decided to get more involved in school, where I, you know, joined the American Marketing Association, Delta Sigma Pi, which was a business fraternity. And I was also in the scuba club, rock climbing club, and I just wanted to, you know, make lifelong friends, which I'm lucky to have a lot of friends still today from college. And so, but I always had interest in becoming a real estate agent. Even when I lived in Illinois, I always thought it would be so cool to become a real estate agent. I always, as a kid, enjoyed HGTV and watching all those home shows and all that, and I thought, you know, I enjoy helping people. The one thing I enjoyed about having the bath and beauty business was when we had customers with like eczema and psoriasis, they always would, you know, say how like the bar of soap would, you know, make them feel so more positive about their skin. And that was always a highlight of just seeing people being so happy from something that is so simple, but just the happiness is what made it so cool for me. And I figured, you know, it would be so cool to be part of being a real estate agent, is, you know, helping people get their dream house or whatever their goals can be. And so at the time I was in school and I was doing a double major in business management and marketing while also taking real estate classes online. And I was planning to get my license while I was in college, but of course COVID happened and we all got on lockdown, and all the test centers for real estate were actually, you had to go out of state to get to take the test. And at the time I didn't, you know, I was a college student, so I didn't really have the funds to do that. And also COVID, I was, you know, concerned about traveling on the airplanes and all that, not really knowing much about COVID. So that summer I decided to become in North Myrtle Beach ocean rescue lifeguard. That was a really fun job, where, you know, just to get to be on the beach all day, and, you know, never knowing what could happen, because in a split second everything can be calm, and then like that something crazy can happen. So I did have a lot of rescues my first year with lifeguarding, but then I graduated in December of 2020. And shortly after I graduated college, I got my real estate, took the real estate exam and passed it, and became a real estate agent. And I've been doing real estate for about 2 years now. It's been, you know, one of the best careers I could have. I enjoy helping people. I mean, it's just always nice to, you know, get to meet new people and have them become a client, but then also having them become a friend. Where, you know, I've still talked to a lot of past clients, and I enjoy just, you know, seeing what's new with their family. And I think the most enjoyable moments is when we're at the closing table and they finally get the keys to their new home. And sometimes it's very emotional for a lot of them to, you know, finally have their dream home. And I think that's one of the highlights of being a real estate agent. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know more about me. It's one of the hardest videos to do, because, you know, I'm trying to talk about myself, but it's so hard because there's so much I could talk about. But I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I would love to get to know you guys, so feel free to, you know, contact me in the description below. You guys can also check out my website at www.gavinbursethrealtor.com. But I hope you guys enjoy the Myrtle Beach lifestyle, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.